In the heat of battle, a small pirate ship was trapped. It was October 1720, and the Royal Navy had cornered the sloop known as the Revenge. On deck, most of the pirate crew were too drunk to fight. They hid below, leaving their ship to be captured. But two pirates fought back. They moved with amazing speed, a blur of flashing swords and smoking pistols. They fought with a fury that stunned the soldiers attacking their ship. And here is the impossible secret. These two fierce pirates were not men. They were women. To understand how shocking this was, you have to picture a pirate ship. It was a floating world of wood and rope, crowded with tough, dangerous men. Life was hard, food was bad, and fights could break out over anything. It was a world built only for men. In fact, most pirate crews had a strict set of rules, called articles. And a very common rule was that no women were allowed on the ship. Many pirates believed women were bad luck at sea. They thought it would cause arguments and break the crew apart. So how did two women end up on the most dangerous ship of all? The first was named Bonny. She was not a poor girl running away from a hard life. She grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, the daughter of a rich lawyer who gave her everything. But Anne had a wild spirit that could not be tamed. From a young age, she was known for her fierce temper. People told stories about her fiery personality. One old legend says she once got so angry at a young man that she attacked him with a knife. Anne was a rebel from the very beginning, looking for a life of adventure, not comfort. This drive for freedom shaped her entire life. She refused to live by anyone else's rules. That's why she made a choice that changed everything. Anne's first great rebellion was against her own father. He wanted her to marry a wealthy man, but she fell in love with a poor sailor named James Bonny. When she married him, her father was so angry he disowned her, leaving her with nothing. So Anne and her new husband sailed to a place where rule breakers felt right at home. They went to Nassau, a town in the Bahamas that was known as the Republic of Pirates. It was a wild, lawless port filled with the most famous pirates of the age. There, Anne left her husband for a dashing pirate captain named John Rackham, better known as Calico Jack. She joined his crew and sailed away to live a life of true freedom on the sea. But Anne was not the only woman on that ship with a secret. The other was Mary Read, and her story was even more unbelievable. It began with a lie that started when she was just a baby. Mary's mother had a son who passed away. To keep getting money from the boy's wealthy grandmother, her mother did something desperate. She dressed her new baby girl, Mary, in her dead brother's clothes and pretended he was still alive. Mary Red grew up her entire life as a boy. Long before she was a pirate, Mary Red lived a different life. She pretended to be a boy named Mark Reed. As Mark, she joined the British Army. She was sent to fight in a long, hard war in a place called Flanders. This was a dangerous job for anyone. Mary, living as Mark, was a fantastic soldier. She was brave and skilled with a sword and a musket. The other soldiers respected Mark. They had no idea their tough friend was secretly a woman. She proved that courage has no gender. But then something unexpected happened. Mary fell in love with another soldier in her group. She decided to trust him with her secret. She told him the truth. He was amazed, and they secretly got married, living for a short time as husband and wife. Years later, fate had another plan for Mary. After her husband passed away, she was on a ship sailing across the ocean. Suddenly, pirate sails appeared on the horizon. The ship was attacked and captured by the crew of Calico Jack Rackham. The pirates noticed Mary's skill as a fighter right away. They needed good people for their crew, so they forced her to become one of them. She didn't choose to be a pirate. At first, she was a pirate by pure chance. On board the pirate ship called the Revenge, a strange situation began. Bonny, who was Calico Jack's partner, started to like the quiet new pirate, Mark Red. She spent a lot of time with Mark, and they became good friends. This made Calico Jack very angry. He was filled with jealousy. He thought his partner and this new sailor were keeping secrets from him. One night, he couldn't take it anymore. He cornered Mark with a knife and demanded to know what was going on. To save her life, Mary had only one choice. She had to reveal her own secret. She opened her shirt and showed the shocked pirate captain that Mark Reed was actually a woman. Imagine his surprise. He was threatening a woman. Now the secret was out between the three of them: Calico Jack, Bonny, and Mary Reed. But instead of causing more trouble, this amazing truth created an incredible team. Anne and Mary became the closest of friends. They were also the most feared fighters on the ship. They were a powerful duo. We know this because one of their prisoners later told the story. When a fight broke out, it was Anne and Mary who fought with the most skill and fury, better than any of the men. But their time as the sea's most feared duo was coming to an end. One night, while their ship was anchored near Jamaica, Calico Jack and the crew decided to have a huge party. They drank rum and celebrated, completely unaware that danger was sailing toward them in the darkness. A ship captained by a man named Jonathan Barnett was hunting them. He was sent by the governor to capture the pirates. His ship moved silently through the water, getting closer and closer. The attack was a total surprise. Suddenly, the night was filled with the sound of cannon fire and shouting. The party ended instantly. The male pirates, including Calico Jack, were too drunk to even stand, let alone fight. They stumbled and hid below deck like scared children. But on the chaotic, splintering deck, two figures stood tall. It was Bonny and Mary Reed, fighting back with pistols and swords, a whirlwind of fury against the attackers. They fought with amazing bravery, but two people cannot defeat a whole crew. They were eventually overwhelmed, and the ship was captured. The entire pirate crew, including Anne and Mary, was put in chains and taken to stand trial. For the crime of piracy, there was only one punishment. In the courtroom, the judge found them all guilty. The sentence was death by hanging. It looked like the adventure was over. One by one, the pirates were sentenced to their doom. Calico Jack, Anne's great love, was gone. Then it was Anne and Mary's turn to face the judge. But they had one last secret. When the judge asked if they had anything to say, they both stood up and declared something that shocked the entire court. They were both expecting a child. This was their final, desperate move. According to the law at that time, an unborn baby could not be punished for the crimes of a parent. This meant their sentences had to be delayed. They had escaped the gallows, at least for a while. They were sent back to a dark prison to wait. Sadly, life in the damp, dirty prison was harsh. Mary Reed grew very ill with a powerful fever. The woman who had survived battles and storms could not survive the sickness. She passed away in her cell, her story ending not with a sword in her hand, but in quiet tragedy. And what about Bonny? This is where her story becomes one of the greatest mysteries of the sea. After Mary's death, Anne disappears from every historical record. She was not executed. She was not recorded as dying in prison. She simply vanished. Did her powerful father, who had so much money, pay a huge bribe to have her secretly released? Did she somehow escape and find a ship to a new land to live a quiet life with her child? Some legends say she even went back to being a pirate under a different name. We will never know for sure. Unlike other pirates whose stories have a clear end, Bonny's tale just stops. It leaves us with a question that has no answer: a ghost ship sailing forever on the ocean of history. Her legend is the treasure she left behind.